Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we will be dissecting
A Quiet Place, Day 1.
Let's get some pizza.
A girl named Sam, former poet, now terminally ill cancer patient, lives in a hospice. In a hospice. It's a different member of the spice group.
No, it's Ice Spice. It's like it's her.
It's like Spooky Spice.
It's like Ice Spice and Hospice. It's the duo.
Yeah. Lives in a hospice just outside of New York City with her emotional support cat Frodo. The baby.
It's cute.
Ruben, Sam's friend and nurse, convinces Sam to go into the city for a marionette show and some pizza.
Zaza.
During the show, Sam needed a break and goes outside for some fresh air. When she looks up in the sky to see what looks to be giant meteors falling towards the earth, suddenly, many people are attacked by the alien creatures, and Sam gets knocked unconscious. When Sam finally wakes up, she is reunited with Frodo and Ruben inside the puppet theater, where everyone must remain silent. Otherwise, the creatures will attack again. The military begins bombing all of the bridges to New York to prevent the creatures from spreading, as they can't swim. I will say that's a very smart thing to see have happen.
It's unfortunate for New York.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking people. But
because it seemed like
to save the rest of the world,
it felt like that was like site 0. You know, like that's the impact site. That's where like the majority of it went.
Yeah. So only a couple got out and spread past New York, as you know, with regular Quiet Place.
And I mean, it's not like we can figure out if there's how reproduction works.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know, but there's weird stuff in this movie that we have so many more fucking questions.
And we'll talk about those in a second.
Alrighty. We're just burpy bitches.
Put that on a shirt. Later that night, the power goes out, causing the generator to kick in. But it's too much noise. Ruben goes to turn it off, but doesn't make it in time, and gets swept away by the alien.
Which is like a terrifying scene.
It is. Because you know what's going to happen.
He thinks he's like out of it, and they're like, oh. And then all of a sudden it's like...
Because he turns it off, but...
Yeah. Oof. Nope. Too much.
Too much noise.
Mm-hmm.
This causes Sam to take Frodo and start heading to Harlem for some pizza.
Mm-hmm.
During her trek, the military announced that they will be evacuating people by boat, causing crowds of people to start emerging from their homes and towards the boats.
Stupid.
The noise causes the creatures to swarm and attack everyone on the street.
Yeah.
They think they're being so fucking quiet, but
like,
if everyone's trying to be quiet and there's a fucking horde of you...
There's so fucking many of you. Your shuffling and walking is more than enough.
Yep. Sam hides, and Frodo runs away. Eventually, an Englishman named Eric encounters Frodo.
I'm not gonna lie, every time Frodo runs, it's a state of panic.
Yep. Because you're like, no, where are you going?
No, kid, baby, no.
Come back. Eric follows him back to Sam. Sam tries to tell Eric to go to the boats, but instead insists on sticking with her. Sam and Eric on their journey to Harlem accidentally alert the creatures and must flee through the flooded subway, where they end up in a church with other survivors.
That subway scene is
Terrifying.
Terrifying.
So scary.
I'm like, no baby kitty underwater. I don't like it.
Right?
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead. Eric goes out to find Sam her pain meds. Frodo follows him, but the two get stuck at a construction site, which also happens to be the lair of the creatures. Eric comes face to face with the largest one of the creatures, who calls the others to come feed on some eggs, which are wild looking. They kind of look like mushrooms, but also eggs, but also
Mushrooms.
whatever it is. And this motherfucker's massive.
Huge.
Like massive, like a multi-story.
Like,
massive.
get super close to Eric's face and you're like, he's dead.
Eric's whole body is the size of its head. Like, fucking unnecessarily big.
Mm-hmm.
Eric makes it back to the church and gets Sam her meds.
With Frodo. That's important.
The next day, the pair continue their adventure, where Eric learns that Sam's dad used to play at a jazz club in Harlem and would take her to get pizza afterwards. Eric takes Sam to the club and finds pizza for her, performing a magic trick for her to make the atmosphere more normal and lifelike.
And fun, giving her a good old grand time.
It was also just a very sweet ass scene.
So
it's such a
fucking sweet.
cute scene. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was wonderful.
And
I really
Joseph
did.
Quinn, I
Sweet
love.
baby boy.
Love
him.
Hand in Marriage.
Lupita, beautiful.
Oh my god.
A stunning human being.
Stunning.
Great, like, for the two of them having to act in such a state of pure silence. I feel like when we did watch The A Quiet Places, like, there was a level of silence.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this movie, it was like such a different kind of silence.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it felt more oppressive.
Right, but that's probably because New York is already so loud.
And like,
it's such a loud fucking city. Like, they even said in the first part that it's like, it creates a consistent 90 decibels at all times.
Yeah. And it's like, to think, like, and it's also like the fear of the time, you know, because it's literally day one. It's literally all the shit hit the fan.
Yep.
Just wild. Cause
so you go from seeing the city bustling and so alive to dead fucking quiet.
Yeah, because even in the technically first movies of A Quiet Place,
it starts off quiet.
It starts off quiet. It
other than like the second one, but even that is a small town, so it's not.
And it also just doesn't feel as. It feels lonely versus oppressive.
Yeah.
Which is definitely an interesting kind of take on that.
That's a great
comparison.
Yeah. Eric and Sam then see the boats evacuating people and start heading in that direction. But there are too many creatures due to the horn of the boat drawing them in. Sam gives Eric her jacket and Frodo and runs away to distract the creatures. Eric takes Frodo and runs, jumping into the water and swimming to the boat, safe from the aliens. Later, Eric finds a note in his jacket from Sam, telling him to take good care of Frodo and thanking him for reminding her to be alive. Or to live. Whichever. Both are the same. Back on the island, Sam happily walks through the streets of New York, or Harlem, listening to her iPod, when she unplugs her headphones and the creatures swarm her.
The end. God, this was a great ass movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was really sweet because so clearly in moments, especially like in the underwater tunnel moment in the subway, and especially during that end moment, when you're with the two of them, you can see that the Eric character clearly has some kind of like a panic state that he gets into.
Yep.
And has had to be calmed down.
Yeah, like his anxiety is really insane, and like
when she gives him the jacket and everything, and she sees him start to panic when he thinks that they can't get out, and she just hands him Frodo, almost like you need him more than I do.
In this moment, you need him more than I do.
You need him more than me.
He's an emotional support cat, and like emotional support cats can help with anxiety.
Exactly.
So it was like so perfect, and obviously Eric felt that attachment because when we first see Eric, he's like coming out of a subway that has already been flooded, and Frodo's just sitting there staring at him when he comes out.
Like watching him and then guides him back. And it's kind of like Eric's in like a dazed, but like a dazed stupor of just like toddling behind her.
Yep.
Like, I'm going where?
I'm going wherever you're going, girl.
Where are you? You're the one.
This cat guided me to you.
So I'm sticking with you.
This is where I'm staying. I'm
trust this cat. With you.
I know no one else.
He was
I'm
so
from
dopey
England.
and cute.
I don't know anybody here.
Loved it.
Yeah.
It was very cute.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved his character.
Yeah, me too.
But I also thought it was even sweeter knowing that the yellow jacket that she put on him was her father's.
Yeah.
So she wanted a part of her with him.
Even like, the cat. Because obviously, cats don't live forever, but, clothing can last a very, very long time.
And it's like just the idea that with that short amount of time, they were able to bond so strongly.
Yeah. It just shows like what the end of the world can really do to people.
Oh, yeah. Some crazy shit can happen for real. Alrighty. So, this movie was released June 28th, 2024. So, very, very recently. So, we made sure to jump on this one, especially so that we could do our Quiet Place.
Yes. Because, again, I fucking love this series. And there's one more to come.
And also just the excitement at the fact that we chose to have our Quiet Place series now, and fucking Halloween Horror Nights is like, hey, a Quiet Place this year.
Yeah. They keep doing that.
The timing is beautiful.
We come out with our podcast named Horror Unmasked, and that same year they came out with a house called Horror Unmasked. And then now we're doing a Quiet Place, and then they come out announcing, like, we set up this schedule, as if you've heard, like, we set this up like a year in advance.
We really do.
So
it was kind of magical
it's crazy.
It worked out that way.
I mean, granted, like, obviously if you're doing about 52 almost, no, how many, because we missed January, so roughly 40 something episodes.
Oh no, we're 50. We're over 50.
I'm talking about in a year.
Yeah, in a year.
So if you're doing roughly like 40 something episodes in a year, you're probably bound to have some similarities, but it's still
for twice in a row,
still good.
It's
still
pretty
very
crazy.
good.
Pretty crazy. But the director is Michael Sarnowski. Story by John Krasinski and Michael Sarnowski.
Yep.
Distributed by Paramount Pictures. And I do have their box office. So what was their budget?
67 million.
Okay, because their box office. And this is also very
fresh.
Still new. So the number here is only what they have, currently. I'm assuming for like the first week.
Yeah.
Versus now or later. So it's 183.6 million.
I have 200.
Exactly. So I knew that the number was going to increase because I got this fairly close after it released. So I think that number's going to skyrocket.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even know what it is now.
Like, it's really good. It's really good.
Do you know what it is now? Or should I look it up just to see?
Look it up. While you look that up, I'm going to talk about the runtime. So it's an hour and 39 minutes, which honestly, it feels shorter than that.
It does.
Because, like, there's honestly not a lot going on within this movie, but it still paces really nicely, and it feels like it goes faster than that. And of course, our Rotten Tomatoes score, very good. 87%. And that's of when I looked at it, so it could be different at this point.
No, it's still 87.
Still 87?
It's still 87.
Yep. So, did very, very well. And then the kill count, at least from what you see, is 21.
But it is.
That's still a lot. But obviously there are, like, most of that city was wiped out.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of those people died and got by these aliens.
243.6 million.
No, I had 200. So
Yeah, so it's increased. And it's not been that long since it's, you know.
it's been a month. Not even.
Yeah.
Not even a month.
Not even a month. And it's...
At least from the time we're recording this.
Yeah, as of the time of recording it. Apologies. So it'll be interesting to see what it is later on. Alrighty. You have a cast list?
Yes, I do.
Alrighty.
And it is goated. It's very small, though.
Yeah.
We've got Lupita Nyong'o as Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Quinn as Eric.
The boy.
Alex Wolff. Shout out from Hereditary.
Yeah. I was like, at first, it wasn't until I looked it up at the actors, and I was like, oh shit! You are almost unrecognizable when you have a beard and long hair.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I totally didn't.
You
peg
did
that.
it? You really did it?
I felt like I recognized him, and I was like, I know who you are,
Yeah.
but I can't place you.
Right.
You know, because they did really good with the hair appliances.
Yeah,
they did really
yeah.
good.
But he played Ruben.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Jimon Honsu as Henry.
Yeah. And then we have Schnitzel as Frodo.
Is that you, the kitty?
The baby. The cat survives. That was the only thing
Yep.
I looked up before going to this movie.
Because she couldn't handle it.
Because I had to know he lived. Had to know.
Yep.
I was the kid that what the fuck was that movie? The Golden Compass? That movie fucked me up. I was sobbing in that theater.
Oh my gosh.
I was heartbroken in that movie. It took me a while before I could watch it again because I was like, but the animals are dying.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, no, I need to know if the cat survives. Otherwise, I won't survive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Once I knew that, I was like, okay, all bets off. We're all good now.
Yep.
Now it's just, how the fuck are they going to make me panic about the idea that something bad could happen to the cat?
Mm-hmm.
Which is often.
So often.
The number of times he ran off, you're like,
oh
no!
my god.
He's just running into like rubble and
Yeah.
dust and past
Yep.
people, and you're just like, there's monsters that way.
Yeah.
Don't do it. The fucking... It's such a cat fucking thing to do. But when he's with Eric and he just fucking climbs up
Yep.
the fucking steel
Yep.
and you're like,
Why?
Why are you like this? And he has to fucking climb it in silence
Mm-hmm.
while this monster being is just
Right there.
right there.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, God damn it.
I will say, the
God
scene
damn it.
with the subway flood and there's a creature after them and they
Oh.
end up in the church. I didn't think it was very plausible. Like, it didn't seem very realistic. But that's pretty much it for me.
I think for that, their reasoning for that is because the way that it showed it, it was like a collapsed tunnel is what it was.
No, I mean, like, them going through the water like that and the cat being fine.
I mean, cats can swim. There's a level
That
of
was
it.
not swimming. That was not swimming. And then when the cat got out, the cat was perfectly fine. And I was like,
Well, he was wet, but that was about it. But you know, the cat survived.
Yep, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
If they killed the cat, probably would.
I would be
yeah.
fucking heartbroken.
This movie would be at a different rating for me.
Oh yeah. All right, you want me to go first? You go first.
Go ahead.
Alrighty. Let's go. So Nyong'o delivers an intense performance in this film.
Yup.
So just as
Just as
remarkable.
she does in everything.
Oh yeah.
she does.
Oh yeah. So just as remarkable is the environments she traverses. It's supposed to be Manhattan, but in fact, day one was filmed largely on the Leavesden backlot outside of London. So Industrial Light and Magic, our amazing guys that are constantly in everything, The visual effects supervisor, Malcolm Humphreys, and his team of far-flung contributors in San Francisco, Vancouver, and Mumbai. Enhanced production designer Simone Bowles' physical set to emulate a full-blown cityscape stretching from Chinatown to Harlem and beyond.
Damn.
The VFX team also conjured new details from the Death Angels
Yep. Because
from outer space.
if you didn't know, that's what the aliens are called.
Death Angels, which is wild. Featured in the first 2 Quiet Place movies, which is kind of funny because they're called Death Angels, but when they refer to the creatures, they're known as Happies.
Oh, gosh.
They're happy, known as Happy.
No.
And I'm like, you call them Death Angels, but their nickname on set is Happy? What?
I suppose.
They had to unarchive all the work they did on the previous film and went to work upgrading the assets for the current level of technology, including detailed simulations of how everything worked inside the mouth of the creature.
Ugh.
So the creatures operated mainly in 2 modes: snatch and grab, or going after their prey in a slow, methodical way.
Yeah.
The interesting thing for them is that the Quiet Place story is now placed in a much denser environment. So they needed to flesh out the creatures in terms of how they interact with the buildings and the cars and how they operated in a hive mentality towards a common goal.
They were scary, man.
Yo.
They were so fast.
And the fucking herd.
Yeah.
It was a herd.
Just bolting across the tops of buildings.
Wild
and scaling up
shit,
the side
man.
of them. Oh my Jesus.
Absolutely insane. So one area they had to totally upgrade was the creature's ear. So at the construction site, when the creature's ear opens up, there's a huge amount of texture, detail, cartilage, and sculpting from really talented artists doing what they'd normally do physically, but they're doing it digitally. And when the big mother Happy touches these mushrooms, so they are referred to as mushrooms.
Okay.
It was interesting to see creatures that are normally quite aggressive now interact in a gentle manner. Like a mother calling her children
To come eat.
dinner.
Be like, hey, babe.
That's essentially what
ready.
it was. She called out. You heard her make a call.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first time we've really heard them make a communication sound. You know what I mean?
To each other, yeah.
Usually you're seeing them as a singular entity or as a chaotic group.
And they're attacking the sound. And
Yeah.
not being
They're not
calling.
communicating.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to know that now we know they have the ability to communicate. So, and they eat some kind of a mushroom thing.
Yep.
Which looked real gross.
It did. At first I thought it was eggs. Like they're eggs.
Yeah.
And that's how they
Same. I thought they were
populate.
eggs, but they looked weird. But now that we know that they're mushrooms, it's I also had a feeling that they might have been mushrooms. I'm because our whole thing is, okay, we figured out at this point they have to be just killing for fun, for fucks and giggles.
Because if they eat these mushrooms, what, they don't need to be killing everything that makes sound.
No, the only way that would make sense is if they attacked something and brought it back and then let it decay.
But you don't see any of that.
From the mushrooms.
But you don't see that.
That would make sense, especially if they're mushrooms, because then it would make sense. They put their biological material on it.
Because you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, we just see the creature attack, and we don't see what happens to people after that.
That is true. We do know that they do have a lot of bodies that are left behind. We do know that.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know, man. We're going to have to wait till we see this this final installment.
Yep.
It's going to be wild. Alrighty. So, the shots where Samira crawls under the car to hide.
Oh, God. From the herd of people.
And the
attacked.
creatures grab someone.
Yeah.
Would have been hard to do with a stunt person. So how do they make it feel visceral and damaging? They made a full CGI person.
What?
They made a full CGI person. We also replaced the front bumper that crashes to the ground. These story supporting visual effects tell the audience this is not a place you want to be. So the front bumper that landed on her foot and the guy,
all CGI.
all CGI.
That's crazy.
Would have never fucking guessed it.
No.
I was like, what?
I literally was just
He
like,
was
that's
just
a real
a
person.
fake
Yeah.
person?
That's
He was just a fake person.
CGI is getting way too.
They're getting advanced,
They're
man.
getting way too advanced for me.
So,
Dear Lord.
the back lot set that they filmed on is only 330 feet long. Andy Evans, the construction manager, built beautiful sets. But with Chinatown, there were a bunch of set extensions. And then when they moved through the different neighborhoods up towards Harlem until the final shot, Lupita's on the same backlot that Chinatown was shot on.
Yeah.
But they replaced 80% of the background.
Mm-hmm.
From a story point of view, it all made sense and felt authentic because that's actually an intersection in New York that they had scouted and captured all that data to make the shot work. So Michael and Simone identified multiple locations in New York for the neighborhoods they wanted to progress through in the story. Then they had to go and capture and have capture units go through the city, and they captured 115 building facades. From there, it became a matter of using these photos of real locations to make sure the rhythm and feel were authentic. So that when they made those visual changes, that it felt like it made sense for the landscape.
It really did. It was
It
great.
really felt like New York. It really
Yeah.
did. As people who have been to New York and seen New York,
Yeah.
very much.
A few times.
So definitely felt like it. So, all right. The small details in the designs were sticking points for Bowles, who artfully grounded the culturally diverse neighborhoods of New York's Chinatown, Harlem, the Lower East Side, and the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
The collaboration among Sarnowski's cinematographer, Pat Scola, and costume designer, Bex Crofton Atkins, drove the authenticity, visual flair in prep. Michael and Pat have a relationship, having made Pig, the movie, together. Pig, the one with Nick Cage.
I don't know. I don't watch Nick Cage movies just because I can't take them seriously.
They're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. That's the way Nick Cage wants it.
I don't like it.
Nick Cage movies are a wild experience to watch. So when Pat came in, he brought his own ideas and suggestions that they integrated. And when Bex arrived, that was another layer. She brought some fascinating costumes and colors for Samira and Eric and the rest of the characters.
They were great.
So this was all very early on.
They all felt so streetwear type. And it was
Like
great.
he definitely felt like he was a business.
Oh,
like he
yeah.
was coming
Yep.
for work or something like that.
She was definitely very streetwear.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Super good. Super good.
But yeah, so this all was very early on.
Well, it was like a mix between, I would say, like a cozy art hoe mixed with streetwear. Just because she was also wearing her dad's sweater.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
very artsy
And it also-
musician.
You definitely still felt the like, not like, you also felt like she still also looked like she definitely lived somewhere like medical.
Yeah, yeah.
You still had that feel too. So, so early on, before they had visual effects teams or a construction department, they could put a Michael into the virtual world with a virtual helmet, and he could walk through the set.
Oh, kind of like how they do with HHN houses.
Mm-hmm. They also had a controller so he could turn on or off the set extensions.
Damn.
Then another button to reveal all the vehicles and the people walking around. And he could also adjust the sunlight, which later on their
crazy.
cinematographer, Pat Scola, added for the camera in the virtual reality so he could start choosing lenses and lining that up on set.
That's insane.
So I think that's fascinating.
Technology is getting so wild.
Because you're able to play with the lighting and be like, okay, the light's got to go here, and this has got to go here, and this has got to go here, and here's a good shot, and all this kind of stuff. You can prep it
That must
ahead
take
of time.
forever.
Dude, again, would be
You
so cool to see
remember-
that. I wish that they had I wish at that panel they had like a visual representation from a
Right,
previous thing of
right.
like them having that virtual reality stuff for the HHN. How that would be so cool to see.
I will say, as much as I love how production value for things have gone up so much, I do miss getting 24 episodes every year of my favorite shows. Like, they just don't do that anymore.
No,
They just don't do that anymore.
and that's because everything moved to streaming services. So things either all come out or they come out slowly over time. I mean,
Like,
It's
it's
the
taking
nature of
2
technology.
years to create 8 episodes for something, and it's
Yeah.
like, that's ridiculous.
because anything of lower quality would disappoint you way more. And that's the problem, is that the expectations of visual acuity is so much higher now than it was then. But if we had anything that looked like then, we would not be happy. And that's part of it.
I don't know. Going back to the older seasons of Walking Dead, I'm pretty thrilled. It looks really great. But that's
Well-
all practical.
Again, and that's the point. It's all practical. If you go back to something that had digital effects, it's
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
So,
Sigh. But what about Bridgerton? They already have all of those sets and they have all of those costumes.
It's practical.
And so why is it taking 2 years to come out with
I think that's
8
a story
episodes?
thing. I think that's a story thing.
Kind of ridiculous to me and a lot of people.
I think they focus, think for them, story is the most important aspect.
And then they really disappointed me in the last 4 episodes. So,
Really?
yeah.
How?
The more I thought about it and the more I watched it and the more I was like, it could have been so much better. And the fact that, of course, the showrunner wanted to make it a more comical season for a fat girl is just so what the fuck. You can't take her seriously,
Well, I
so you
didn't
wanted to
think it
make it
was
more
comical.
comical. She literally said it. It's
No,
more
I'm
rom-commy.
saying
And
I
it's
don't
ridiculous.
see it as comedy at all.
I do. And a lot of people do as well. And it's so... ugh.
Like, there's not even a single part in it where I think it's, like, funny or haha.
No,
As a girl who
they
is a
went
fat
more
girl,
rom-com.
there
and it's
is no
so-
rom-com to
And
that.
I will say, fat is not a bad word. So if you're sitting here being like, oh my god, she just said that, it's not a fucking bad word. It's not a bad word.
Like, I'm overweight, but also as someone who's overweight, there's not a single part of that that made me go, haha. At that point, it just sounds like she's trying to, the person's trying to fat shame.
Mm-mm.
Like, there was nothing funny in those last 4 episodes.
It's if you look at the vibe at the previous 2 and of Queen Charlotte, it is very different and it is more rom-commy and it is kind of disappointing. Also, the fact that they felt that they need to put so much makeup on her compared
she
to the other
looked
season. She looked fucking
stunning.
gorgeous, stunning, beautiful.
She looked like a goddess.
Slay the house, boots down, period.
She looked like a fucking goddess.
But they beat her face so hard that it's like,
I'm okay with it. Because, again, here's a visual difference. There's a side of that world that I feel like unless you are a plus size person, you'll never understand.
it's not just me saying this. It
And
is
I'm-
the plus size people.
I'm aware of that.
It
But
is the plus size
as
people, and I agree
someone,
with them.
it's very nice to see someone
Oh, for sure.
depicted plus size, visually stunning,
Oh, for sure.
and beloved
And I'm not denying any of that.
of and it's one of those situations where, like, also just to begin with, she already looks like a fucking goddess without makeup, so it's
Period.
not.
No, she does.
You know,
That girl serves face
she's so fucking pretty.
in everything she does.
Even but
Face
like,
and body and just
ever since she was
stunning.
young, she's been stunning. She's
Right.
just always been beautiful.
She's just
So I'm so grateful to have her as a plus size
For sure.
inspo. Like it gives you hope, I guess, in a weird way.
And the fact that it's like one of the most watched shows,
Yeah.
like seasons.
I personally don't see where any of the comedy is. But I think like the only parts that I could see the comedy in is like the sisters. And that's really it. Like, I don't know. I felt like it was nice and balanced and like I had lots of tension and like what the fuck kind of stuff going on. But I feel like that's me.
My main part, because that was only like side stuff, my main part was the fact that, and a lot of people are going to be like, there's no more side stories than have been in every other season. Bullshit. I needed more Pollen. I needed more scenes because it felt like we didn't, like, he was pissed off at her for the rest of those episodes. And it's like we didn't even get to really see their relationship. And he was just angry the whole time. And it was like, what? They didn't even get to enjoy their wedding night. We didn't even get a wedding night, bro.
Here's what I'll say.
And it's like, are you kidding me?
I do agree that I wish that there was more. I do more scenes of them. Yes, I do agree. What I will say is that it made sense.
No, they could have
that he was angry the way that he was because he's dealing with a moral crisis that's been affecting his family
for sure
for a long time, that he now is in love and desperately wants to be with the woman who fucked up her family.
And I definitely understand that. If you go, there are some things in the book though that they should have kept
in the show,
because it makes it
I feel like, if anything, our wedding night
I'm so pissed about
episode was really them being in their house for the first time, was really their wedding night. I mean, yes, would it have been fantastic for in that moment when he came into that room and she had the dress off her shoulder that he just ravaged her? Would be fine. That's literally what everyone was wanting and expecting.
Oh my God.
Am I lying?
Everyone's pissed off that there weren't more scenes because there was literally like 2. And that's all we really got.
Like 100% yes, obviously. And then obviously all of us wanted a little bit more of that end scene where she was now in queen bitch mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being commanding of the sexy time situations.
But just in the whole, everyone is like, just got so upset over Jess, the showrunner, because of just how she ended the season and how she treated it, and very clearly also pushing Francesca's storyline, because she even said she saw herself in Francesca.
When you're also intentionally on those thread lines, you're going to get more of a specific audience. But yes, I
saw
can
both.
understand
I've
that.
seen the people who really love and appreciate it, and I'm obviously one of those people, but I also see why people are upset, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
But all right, let me finish these notes.
Sorry.
So we can move on. All right. So the set designer also designed the movie The Descent.
Never seen it.
Have not seen it either. But it's set inside of a cave. It's essentially, I think it's like a spelunking, and they like find some like horrific creature down in the depths of the caves. So basically what they learned from that is that it's very difficult to do tunnels.
Gotcha.
It doesn't matter how much space you have on a stage. If it's meant to be a long tunnel, it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, they had a very long, straight tunnel. They had a 60-foot long tunnel.
Yeah.
But it was never enough.
Yep. What they were in, this is for the subway scene, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very long.
Mm-hmm. So it needed to be extended off into the distance in both directions.
Yeah.
So when you have 2 people floating down through the water in the tunnel, it's more exciting to shoot them looking down it. So as the water levels rise, it's much easier to lower the ceiling
Gotcha. Yeah.
then rise the water because the actors get used to the fact that they can touch the pool floor.
Yeah. That's good.
And the crew is all set up with the lighting. So they basically put the ceiling on motor hoists and it gets lower and lower until the water level is near the ceiling. And the characters are trying to suck in that last bit of air. So that whole scene
That's brilliant.
was basically done in a 60-foot long tunnel with extensions, and then they just moved it so that the ceiling would be lower.
Right.
That simple.
That's so cool.
And then the monster fucking just
Coming
for him.
And that's also just really safe for the actors because it's very, very easy to fuck up
Yes.
and very dangerous to fuck up a water scene.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, it's as we've experienced before how easy it is to fuck up a water scene. Oop. Electrocutions, lights out, and all the chaos. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely understand that one. But that's the end of my notes.
Very cool. Very cool.
So what do you have?
I just have some stuff on the Death Angels.
Alrighty.
On our Death Angels.
Also known as Happies.
Happies, yes. Our Happies Death Angels.
That's fucking... I don't know why. They would be like, yes, happy.
Happies.
What?
We are agreed.
It's fucking
It is
bizarre.
written.
Even though they have a name called Death Angels.
Yeah. Or just
Also,
aliens or just creatures.
Wild that they're called Death Angels.
Right?
The fuck?
I didn't understand it.
What?
I saw it and I was like, huh? Because they also never mention it.
No.
Ever. It's never once said in the movies.
There's never any point. They're just the creatures.
Yep. The aliens.
The aliens. That's it. That's
The
like
aliens.
all they are.
All right. So, according to John Krasinski, the man that you are, the director of the movies, the creatures originated on a lightless planet in a faraway galaxy, which is basically a hell world with harsher conditions and higher gravity than Earth. So they adapted to this environment with features such as echolocation instead of sight, and nearly impenetrable armor-like skin, and greater strength in Earth's gravity.
Okay.
Since, higher gravity on their own planet.
Yeah, they're stronger because they deal... Basically, Earth is like a lightweight playground.
Yeah, that's why they're so agile and things. But their skin is so tough that it can resist, like, so much conventional weaponry, so small firearms, shotguns, rifles, to even missiles and bombs.
Yeah.
They destroy steel and other hard objects, and they are, however, completely blind, and their bodies are so dense that they can't swim in deep water.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, that's cool. They're slightly taller than a human, and their proportions are very lean and lithe. And their body posture resembles a cross between a gorilla and a flightless bat.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no, I agree.
Yeah. All four of their limbs are clearly I don't know how to speak. Digitigrade. They walk on their knuckles, and their arms are drastically longer than their legs.
Gotcha.
So it has them usually running on all fours.
Yeah.
But capable of rearing up to attack or jump for large distances.
Gotcha.
So kind of like that gorilla type. Crazy stuff. Their claws, because of their claws and their strength, they're very good at climbing the walls and the windows and the glass panels. And they can also run really, really fast. Speeds up to 300 miles per hour.
Holy good God.
That's why, like, when they're bullet training through the streets,
Yeah.
they're going.
And it's like, it's no surprise that some of them got out
Right.
from off of
Because
the,
they're fast.
the island.
Like, they waited a long time to bomb, to be honest. Because it was, like,
Dude,
kind of morning when they left. And then it was...
we watched this movie. Then we watched the second one, and you're kind of like, the things are crashing, and then boom, they're here.
Yep. That's literally what it was.
Boom, they're there.
They're there. So, they fast, boy.
It makes me think about Bird Box. It's like, they're like, oh, it's over in Russia. Nope, it's fucking
It's
right here.
Yep.
happening now.
Right now. Yeah. Their claws have 3 fingers and are very sharp and can kill instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Or cause the victim to suffer serious injury. Duh.
Yeah.
There's a larger, more muscular variant introduced in this movie, as we know.
Yup.
Meant to be an alpha.
Mama happy.
Yeah. Implying that they do have hierarchy within their social structure.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. You've seen their head, very Demogorgon-like, which has a large jaw filled with sharp teeth and then no eyes because they can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no apparent nose, so it's not clear if they possess any sense of smell.
I wouldn't think so.
Or if smell is achieved through, like, their mouth.
I would think
kind
it
of
was
like the tongue with the snake.
Yes, I would
Like
think
tongue with the
that's
snake.
very,
Yeah.
very close to snakes.
Yeah, yeah. But the entire head is composed of ears inside, with multiple sections of, like, the armor plates
Yeah.
outside that protect their ears. And
That's why they open up
and any
their
flesh.
face.
Yeah, that's why it opens up and they can hear better.
Yeah, every time they zoom in on
Yeah.
just like the massive ear that is on the side. Fucking wild.
So cool.
Makes me think of like a mother of pearl, like shell, you know, with the rainbow iridescent colors to it. Yeah, it's very
is like
it's
that.
very that.
So that's why the armor plates, if they're open, they can listen closely for prey or detect sound. It says unfolding like a hellish cabbage. Facts.
I like that example.
Yes, hellish cabbage. And
It
they
makes me think of chomping cabbages from Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh. Is that in
Legacy,
Legacy,
and it's a
yeah.
weapon you can use. Is you can have chomping cabbages that attack
sounds crazy.
enemies.
I still have yet to play all that, but when I get my life together, it will happen. So obviously their ears are very delicate because it's, you know, they can't see,
They can't see.
and they might not even be able to smell. So they
Everything
very
is their
hardly
hearing.
rely on their ears. So they're delicate. And underneath the armor, they can detect deeper and smaller sounds, such as a mechanical alarm clock. But their ears are very vulnerable to conventional weapons. Just that's why they're
The soft, squishy bits are on the inside.
yeah, the soft squishy bits. So that's why when the plates are down, they're kind of
Impenetrable.
yeah.
Which is why when you see the first and second quiet places, it's you're getting to see like there's the weakness.
Yep.
High pitched sound makes it difficult for them to exist in.
Yeah, and that explains why they only briefly lift their plates if they feel safe enough when tracking an enemy or prey, and they always close their armor to protect their ears when attacking.
Yeah. Because it makes me think back to, I think it was in both of them, but specifically in the first one, when they're first emitting the high-pitched frequency, it's almost like the plates were lifted for so long that they became tired and didn't close.
Yeah.
Like, because they just kind of fell limp.
Yep.
Instead of closing back over, which gave the opportunity.
Right. It's almost
So-
like it overwhelmed them and stunned them.
I think that's kind of fascinating that you could technically tire out the plates and make it so that they cannot close.
Yeah. But obviously, like we're talking about, like the sensitive hearing is their weakness. So that, and then we found out in Quiet Place, the end of Quiet Place, that the high frequency sound waves, make them uncontrollably squeal in pain and spasm. So that opens up the armor plates in their ears, exposing the skin underneath.
Yep.
Which allows us to kill them.
Yep.
Also, if the high-pitched noises are loud enough, it could cause them to be temporarily disabled, like we're saying.
Also,
From the pain.
For real quick question. If the military already knew that everyone had to be quiet, how the fuck y'all not figure out almost immediately
That noises bother
that
them?
that a high-pitched frequency would fuck them up?
I honestly think that it's just
How?
noise in general bothers them so hard, and that's why they just attack.
Yeah, but the high frequency stuns them to a point
Because
of oh my god, the word.
yeah,
You know what I mean.
it's almost like
I was going to say it makes me think of my brother's dog, Chase.
Right. Okay, dogs are better. Better
Dogs are
example.
easy ones. Chase, oh my God. This man is anxious to any sound. Keys could jingle and he would freak out and start barking at it. And it makes me feel very similar to that. But if you played a dog whistle, that shit would fuck him up. I feel like it's a similar concept.
For me, it's more... So what I'm meaning is like, if you are... Say I'm the creature.
Yes.
But I'm afraid of dogs. Like, okay, I'm afraid of a specific type of dog.
Yes.
But I can't see
that dog.
If something barks,
I'm going to kill it.
If I'm a type of predator, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the potential that something that makes noise has the possibility of creating a high frequency sound.
I think that's the reason why I mentioned the Chase thing, because he responds to almost every single sound with a state of, like, even coming in the front door, he will growl in response to it.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank, it's a response. Coming down the stairs sometimes, clanging a pot, a bag making a jangly sound. Like, he'll respond in a growl to it. So it feels, it's definitely like it's defense mechanism.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a defense mechanism that's like almost to a detriment.
Right.
In a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, what do they consider prey? If anything, what do they consider prey? Also, if it is sound-based, if it's a defense mechanism that they attack things that are sound-based, it makes them seem like they're more prey than they are predator.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man.
So it's wild.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if your defense mechanism is to attack and kill something as a defense, that makes you seem more like a prey animal.
Because I wonder where they come from, if there is a creature that is stronger than them, that makes noise, that creates a high frequency that really hurts them.
Also, the other question is did they crash here?
Or did they have to leave?
Or did they run to here?
Yeah, did they run away from
Because
wherever?
those were very smoky, crashy visuals. And I'm like, okay, what is right outside our atmosphere that made them crash?
Right.
Because I'd like to know that answer.
Ugh.
What made these monsters crash land onto us?
Yeah.
What scared them enough to make them run from their planet?
Mm-hmm. Right.
What?
The questions are vast. And I don't think we're going to get answers to all of them.
It's fucking aliens. It's
Right.
aliens.
It's aliens.
It's aliens.
Okay. So, more on them attacking. Krasinski confirmed that the aliens are not sapient, but vicious.
Yeah.
And just how smart and intelligent they are isn't really clear. They seem like they're driven more by instinct.
Yeah.
And
like white dragons.
It's and like they are obviously capable of hunting in packs.
Sorry, that's a D&D thing. Out of all of the races of the chromatic dragons, white dragons are usually considered the most animalistic versus the others. Like, they're intelligent, but they're considered the most animalistic.
Right.
So it's kind of that. They're more animalistic than they are necessarily intelligent beings.
However, they're shown communicating in this movie through like their screeches to alert others when they've discovered like the food source and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that shows they have the ability to communicate each other, which is a sign of more advanced intelligence.
But also, is that like a mother lion calling out to her cubs?
Right.
Like, is that higher intelligence or is that just an animalistic response to, I have food, come eat?
Yep. So...
Also, can any of the other aliens grow that big? Because, no thank you.
I don't like it.
I know, thank you.
Are they all just babies waiting to get that big? Or is
God,
that
no,
the
please.
queen of the hive? I don't know. Can they get bigger?
Can they get bigger? Is there a bigger one?
Can they even get bigger than that?
Where'd the bigger one go?
Right. Like we were talking about, they don't kill for food.
Yeah.
And on the Abbott's whiteboard, like in the first movie,
Mm-hmm.
there's a note that says, "Why don't they eat their prey?" And then they're never seen eating any of the corpses that they leave behind.
And I think that's what we were kind of confused. We're like, okay, they just hunt for the sake of hunting.
Yeah.
They just kill things to kill it.
Yeah. And then they seem to be eating like the alien plants that come with their asteroids in this movie, which again suggests that they don't eat humans. So,
But also, wouldn't their food source die out?
right.
Also, how the fuck they getting off planet?
It's also possible that they can't eat their prey because their biology isn't compatible with the
Human?
terrestrial animals
Gotcha.
of this earth. But they are so robust that they survived a long journey on asteroids, maybe in a state of hibernation, we don't know. And even during the invasion without sleeping. So it's like,
Are you telling me that just like a bunch of asteroids from a destroyed planet just were like, I'm gonna crash land here?
I don't know, man. Like, okay, my thinking is they have to be smart enough to know to come to Earth if they are fleeing. So they have, like, that also shows intelligence to me.
But also, if it is, also part of the problem is that there's so many asteroids that are crashing, and such a massive asteroid that's
Yeah.
crashing, that there's no fucking way.
That it's only New York, or
Not even that it's only in New York, but that if a asteroid that massive actually hit Earth, Earth would be fucked. Sorry, but an asteroid the size of Manhattan
right?
would fuck up the planet
That's true.
big time.
That's very true.
Like, there's no
So,
survival
The
rating
question is, did they actually crash land, or did they land?
with intent. Because the Earth's not destroyed. Was it?
Like, it looks like a lot of asteroids, but what if they got to the ground and it's slowly?
What if it was a crash, but a controlled crash?
Yeah.
Like when a plane engine gets hit and they're like steering to try to land safely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because what if it's also, because we always talk about how space is super, super quiet, right?
Fuck yeah.
What if they could hear how loud Earth was?
Yo.
And was like, let's attack.
How far away
Can they hear?
can they hear?
Questions.
Also,
questions,
again,
questions.
they don't eat their prey. Do they literally just go to a planet and exterminate the entire
Just for shits and gigs.
race?
Just for shits and gigs.
Which is like, okay, you act like you're prey, but then you act like you're predator. What the fuck is going on here? There's too many goddamn questions. I need to sit in a room with Krasinski and be like, I need you to explain me everything right now.
Right now.
Explain
Immediately.
it. You have some explaining to do.
What if he's like, oh, I don't actually know any of this?
I would be like, okay, well then I'm making up the rest
Literally,
of the lore.
like, we can sit here and...
Like, I will bust this bitch out real fast.
Yep, because I
We
need
can do
answers.
it.
I need answers, and I'm willing to create my own.
Like, if you said there's nothing, we're going to create it, and then we're just going to roll with it.
Yep. But there are a few things that the creatures were inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
That's one, obviously, animal echolocation.
Yes.
So their behavior inspired by animals that use echolocation, such as bats, like we already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then also prehistoric fish.
Oh.
Yeah, they were inspired
Interesting.
by prehistoric fish. I don't know which specific type.
Yeah.
That's all it says. But also bog people. So their
Okay.
design was inspired by bog people, which are mummified bodies found in northern European bogs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Very crazy.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool. There's just so many questions, and we need answers. And
It's fucking aliens.
if they're not given in this next movie,
I'm going to riot
I'm right there with you, girl.
to Krasinski and be like, answer my questions.
I was like, I love you.
Love you. Answer my questions.
Answer my questions.
Please. Dear
All right.
God, I need to know. Because right now, I feel like the aliens, man.
Right? Like, but it just shows to go how
It's aliens.
how so incredible and immersive this
Yeah.
world is, because we're so interested that we want the answers.
Like, to have created such a fascinating
yeah.
creature.
Yep.
Like an alien solely dedicated to, and like to think about like the structure of the alien and have to like figure, like, it's
Oh my God.
fucking wild.
I want a prequel to the prequel. Alien POV.
alien POV.
Alien POV. I don't care. I want it.
You want aliens, but like Death Angels. You want
But like
aliens, the movie.
Death Angel POV.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know why they fled their planet. I want to
Pav.
know what they're doing, why they're here,
Yeah.
where they're going.
Yeah.
Kanai Joe.
How the fuck would they get off this planet without it being absolutely destroyed to rubble?
Right. Like, okay,
If they
'cause here's the
showed up
thing.
on asteroids, if quote, 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 all these asteroids just randomly
What if they
landed
were
on...
What if they were giant eggs, and then once they crashed, they hatched?
Dude, that'd be fucking wild.
Like, it could literally be anything. Because when we see this gigantic Death Angel, we only see like the food, but we don't see if there's a spaceship. We don't see if
we don't
there's
even
nothing.
see if the food spreads.
Right. Like,
We
if
have not
this is all
seen-
they have, or what?
Like you know how at least in The Last of Us, regardless of show or game,
Mm-hmm.
the fungus encompasses areas.
Yeah.
It's not localized to like one spot. It's so how does their mushrooms
Right.
grow?
Is it gonna take over?
Does it expand?
And then that's why like the
in
bigger
this-
one was like calling them over and be like, "It's ready, guys. It's spread enough."
like is in the next movie we're gonna see New York like covered
in
in
them,
fucking
in fungus and these creatures, or are we even gonna go to New York at all?
I don't know, man. I feel like we would have to get something in New York. They
know.
can't show it as like the you know, that's where it hit
Right, and then
and
not go back to it.
make it important part.
What is also frustrating to me is that Joseph Quinn might not even be back with
I know.
Frodo, and it's like, come on, why would you show him and make him such a big part if you're not going to bring him back and showcase?
But at
him
least
in
we got the
final
one guy.
Yeah, yeah, he plays Henry.
Henry, yes.
Like
like-
you see him in the.
But we don't see him die.
We don't see him die. Like you
If
see
I
him
don't
get
see
got by
it-
the creature, but if you don't see it,
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Like he got, but we didn't see his dead body. So
So I feel like he's gonna play an important role. In
for
it,
sure, because he's probably
definitely.
gonna be like, oh, I came from the origin of
like
it.
I know that like this area is legit.
So trip to New York, everyone.
It would be almost like at this point, I'm sorry, at this point you need to have
Yeah.
Joseph Quinn come back.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the Eric character who physically was in Site Zero
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
with the fucking big
That's
honcho
literally
monster.
why I'm like, it doesn't make sense for him not to
He
be.
has to be there because he has to be able to lead them back.
And I swear to God, if it's a scene where it's like Henry's on his deathbed and he's like, I had a friend Eric. He told me everything. Shut the fuck up.
He's on the island.
He was on
Like,
the island.
Or even if it's like he's not dying and he's just injured and he's like, these books, my friend Eric,
Yeah.
he left the island for some fucking stupid reason, which he would not do. I'm like, there has to be.
He went back to kill the like, dude.
like,
come on.
There he would have to be back in the movie. There's no way, especially not with giving him such a pivotal and important scene as being in where the fucking monsters are.
Literally,
Like that is so important.
it is, and I think a lot of people are overlooking that, but not us.
Not us. No,
Not us.
we're very aware.
Very.
Aware that you can't have a character literally be in central Monsterville and be like, he's
Okay.
not going to show up again because
Right.
he's not important. Bullshit.
Literally.
Like, he's probably the most important character right now.
Other than Reagan, because she's got her.
Other
hearing
than
aids.
Reagan. Like, that's it. That's it.
I would love to see an Eric Reagan team up.
And you don't think that New York does not have some fucking radio
Radio
tower
system? Are
that's
you
got
kidding?
that would cover all of the
over.
world?
All over.
Please. They literally have like aside from Times Square, they've got the New York Stock Exchange, like all the shit that connects all over the world. I'm sorry.
Isn't there literally a building called Radio?
Yes.
Something
Radio City Music Hall?
Something like that. Like, come on.
There's no way in hell that they're not going to find something there.
No.
Cuz where does fucking Quiet Place take place? In like the first ones?
What place? What city?
Like yeah. Cuz clearly they're close enough to the water.
Upstate New York.
So they're literally
Right there.
right the fuck there.
They're
There's
right
no
there.
way in hell we're not going back to New York.
Nope.
There's no way in hell we're not going back to New York, especially if they got off of mainland New York. Mainland, not the island that was cut off from the rest of the world. So, you know, there has to be a way, without question. You know what I mean? If they're in upstate New York, fuck yeah. We're going back to New York, bitches.
Yeah, a countryside farmhouse.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a specific city. It's just upstate New York is what's important. It means that
Yeah, isolated farm in upstate New York.
they could travel quite easily. They could get back on the boat,
Yep.
travel down, and fucking go.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there, man.
Right there. That's why it got to them so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what the rest of the world is like.
Yo, same. Like,
Because it's all happening in New York.
again,
Questions.
what? We don't know where they're in Florida. Are they in Florida? Are they in California? Did they even make it to Europe?
Right.
What the fuck happened to the rest of the world? Did everybody say there's aliens in America? Fuck that nonsense. Bye.
Because right now it's all happening in New York, and it seems like nobody's giving a shit about that.
Because it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been like
It's-
over a year.
Been a while. It's been a year.
A little over a year.
A little over a year in the main current timeline.
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit over a year, which is wild because it's also a very short fucking period of time.
Yep.
Maybe the rest of the world is fine.
And we're just like, we'll let them fend for themselves.
Like, we have, this is the problem also with a lot of apocalyptic movies, is that we never fucking know
What the rest of
the world is like.
Yep.
We're like, we're in this location. What's happening in this place?
Mm-hmm.
Are they experiencing the same thing?
Right. Right.
Or are we just fucked?
Ugh.
Like, could they, like, at most we thought that maybe if it did only land in America, at most South America might get fucked. Just because of that small connection
Right.
that's there between, like, Panama and all that kind of stuff. It's a fucking struggle of knowledge that we're seeking.
I can't deal.
Because the second they touch water, they fucking sink like rocks.
Oh, they do.
They die.
Immediately.
So
They
it's
die
like,
immediately.
it's fucking
So,
wild.
Get fucked.
It's fucking
Just
wild.
drown New York.
The
Period.
rain fucks them up every time.
Probably. Because
They're
they
not
can't
coming to
hear
Florida.
anything. Like,
They're not coming to
honestly,
Florida.
these creatures are weak as fuck if you think about it.
That's
The
why I can't
rain takes
tell.
them out. Come
That's
on.
why I can't tell if they're prey or if they're predator.
Right.
Because they act like prey, but they also act like predators. It's fucking confusing. It's frustrating. I want to know the answers. God damn it. All right, is that the rest of your notes, or do you still got more?
Yeah, that was all I had. I will say the third and final sequel, Quiet Place 3, being directed by Krasinski, is in development. Because this one, like, pretty much just came out, we don't really know when. There's not
Yeah.
really a official timeline or date.
But it's definitely coming out.
But it's coming.
because
Because if they end it here, I'm done.
well, yeah, because the thing is this literally sets up the premise of, like, okay, here's some information that's very vital.
Yeah. Although I
to the
feel I
story.
don't know how they're gonna finish it in one more movie because there are so many questions.
I feel like it has a lot to do with a international radio broadcast.
And I really, really, really hope that we're not disappointed.
So,
Haven't been so far, but you never know.
Yeah. All right, you got 1 stars?
I do. So bad. So bad. Absolutely terrible. How do these movies make it to full production? Makes me think I could be a writer. Watch at your own peril. The story was absolute garbage unless you were coming to see a D-grade, try-hard love story.
What?
The trailer was all you need to see, really. However, it is so misleading. The whole movie is about a cat and pizza. Honestly, what were they thinking? If anyone tells you this is a good movie, don't ever watch, read, or eat anything they recommend because their opinion is also trash. In fact, it's a great way to see if you are on par with other people's thinking. Trash.
What? Also, not a love story
Not a love story at all.
at all. Like, 2 people who become friends because of the chaos that's going on around them.
Yep.
Also, like, it's not just about pizza and a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the cat's important for me,
Yeah.
but it's
And
about
the peas is important for Sam.
yeah, it's two people dealing with a situation drastically differently.
Right.
One is aware of their terminal illness
And knows that the
and
end
knows
is
they're not
coming,
going to survive, so it doesn't
they know
matter.
they're just helping their friend
At this point,
make it.
all she's doing is like, okay, I got what I wanted.
Mhm.
Now let's get you to safety.
Yeah. I got pizza and I got a good ending to my
Yeah.
story, and I want to make sure you live and can
Yeah.
protect my cat.
Like, I won't make it. I
Yeah.
know I'm not going to make it. There's no reason for me to try to get out of this.
Yeah.
But you can survive.
Mm-hmm.
Take my cat and go. Like, again, some people are just stupid. Because it was a powerful story.
Oh, for sure. Which brings us into
Mm-hmm.
her terminal illness in this film.
Yes.
We kind of forgot to touch on this, but it is
Yeah.
very, very important. Obviously, we know Lupita Nyong'o
And
played a part in the
Avengers.
the
with-
Avengers Black Panther
Yeah, with Chadwick.
with Chadwick Boseman, who was suffering from cancer for a very long time, even while he was doing Black Panther.
Yeah.
Very strong indeed. Very
Yes.
strong human being.
And an amazing person.
amazing
Period.
human
Point
being.
blank. He was such a good human being. And just unfortunately,
And was so strong for like being a superhero and like playing all these hard
he's one of my
things.
favorite superheroes because of the
just the
mentality of the way that he put in for his character.
right, and the pain he must have been in every single day, but he still showed up every single day.
Yeah. And when the world lost him, which is definitely how you would say it, the world lost him.
Oh, for sure.
There's many people in this world that we can consider on that list of people that the world have lost.
And it's so hard watching Wakanda Forever.
Oh,
Just because their pain is real.
you know that those tears are not acting.
It's gut
During the
wrenching.
funeral scene, it's
Gut wrenching.
painful. It's
So-
painful and heartbreaking. And especially towards the end of the movie when you get
Mm.
that reveal and
Mhm.
it's that it
Stop.
hurts.
Stop.
it's painful, but it's also for this movie for Lupita to get to play a character who has cancer.
A terminal illness, yeah.
It gave her a way to kind of work through her emotions also
and connect to him a little more.
and connect and kind of like get through that side of it,
And honor her friend.
and yeah, it was really beautiful that she kind of was able to have this kind of spiritual experience through having this acting role.
And when you think about it that way, it just makes this movie
More powerful.
because it's again about friendship.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the fact that she
Yeah.
not only is playing a character with a terminal illness that she lost her friend to, it's about helping your friends survive in very dark times.
Yeah.
So
And in turn, they also help you have a sense of living,
right.
because the character that she plays in this movie definitely has a very, like in the beginning of the movie, she's reading a poem that she's like, life's shit, everything's shit, it's all shit. Fuck everybody,
Basically.
essentially.
Yeah. And she
'Cause
kind of
she's
given
given
up.
up. Yeah.
Like thanks. Like she's given up, and she like has been told many times that her time was soon, and she was still there.
She kept moving past that soon.
Yeah.
And then, Eric kind of showed up and was like this lost puppy
Yeah.
that just kind of was like, I'm going where you're going.
Made her last days like
Yeah, enjoyable. She had a
Enjoyable.
friend. She had someone who, like,
despite
despite everything.
the world literally ending.
The world literally. It's,
At least for them.
yeah. It's,
So
and it was heroic in its own way, the ending of the movie.
yeah.
The, like, heroic sacrifice and the, like, I've now lived life to the fullest. I've
And-
saved the life of my friend and my cat.
And I've I
Yeah.
achieved the goals that I set out
I feel complete.
Yeah, I feel complete, and this was a good end to
Yeah.
my story, and I'm
Yeah.
going out on my terms now.
Yeah.
So.
She went out on her own terms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was very powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah. I don't
But,
even
yeah.
want to read the other negative reviews just because.
Yeah.
Bah.
I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Fuck 'em.
Just fuck them.
End it on a beautiful note.
Beautiful, beautiful note of friendship.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Alrighty. Next
Friendship
week
and survival, yeah.
is again another survival at the end of the world, but a different version of the senses.
Yep.
Bird Box. Which is hilarious. And I would love to see more movies that are sensory based. Anyway.
Boy!
Boy!
Girl!
It's fucking wild.
Too good.
Oh, shit. Anyway, all right. Send us your thoughts and feelings and opinions and suggestions of movies at our email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and X at Horror Unmasked. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, and YouTube at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And I think with that,
There's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
or will you fear not?